Okay, welcome back to ReZero, Anime Review, episode number 11. Yes, this one's definitely the final one for now until when season 2 starts up in a couple months, provided this get postponed again. This one I'm talking about the very first OVA released for Zero. Released, I think it was September. I'm right now on the page basically when it was released. Get on, thank you. It was June of February. So, released in October 20, October 6, 2018, a month before the second OVA was released. Now, unlike the second OVA, which adapts from one short story, this one, yes, these are short stories. First, Ace the Servants. That is actually from a short from the manga of Zero. Emily's first date is a short story. Along with Alcohol Panic. That's all. Now, basically, Emily's first like Cold, these three stories are based upon stuff based from the stuff published in light novels. The third and fourth stories are from the second side story book. Emily's First Day is from a book that another one of the side books. Yes, this whole thing of this one is that, well, I should point out that this OVA is roughly exactly 1 hour long. Yeah, it's a little bit shorter than the second OVA, but yeah, it was longer than the regular episode of the series, though it is pretty much the same length as the pilot episode for the series. Yep. Mostly put in the case of this. Now, it happens over the course of a few days, this one. Now, this particular OVA does kind of take place between, if you think about it, it kind of takes place between episodes 11 and 12. Why would I say that? Because the anime pretty much wrapped up in book 3, in episode 11, and started down to book 4 in episode 12 for the series. So you can kind of say this OVA takes place between those two episodes. As a matter of fact, it was released that way via director's cut. Yeah, mostly this one is Subaru was preparing for his date with Emilia, but it had to be postponed due to it being cold. Though this is how this cold is, the weather is quite strange in this one. Like inside, it's freezing cold. But later, when they try to step outside, it's actually raining. Yes. Oh, yeah, and over the course of a few days, temperature gets colder and colder. And the thing is, no one knows exactly what's causing it until they confront Emilia about it. Yeah, there was hints about it, basically, with her, her kind of breaking the glass with ice. And they go confront her in her room, and yeah, she's kind of been the one responsible for this, but the actual one responsible for this is Puck. Apparently, it's some kind of overdose of mana. Hitsuko, that's how you pronounce it. That's how they basically set it up. And they gotta figure out some way to get rid of it. They try various different ways, and they also mentioned apparently Roswell and Puck actually fought before. Yeah, they've actually fought, and the thing is, both Puck and Roswell remember that fight very fondly, and they love it. They actually love that fight. What I could tell from the flashback, it looked like it was probably, I'd say, at the same time Roswell probably first met Puck. It's possible. They didn't really say what takes place. So, Subaru basically tries to figure out a way to stay warm. Also, he basically is curled up in a blanket, and he looks perfectly fine in a blanket while Ram. Now, here's the thing. Roswell is perfectly immune to this stuff, because he's basically has magic protection with his clothes. Emilia is actually immune to Puck's magic because of the contract. Now, in the case of Rem, she's basically wearing warm clothing, though she's shivering, but she's not as cold as her sister, who looks like a freaking potato with her blanket basically wrapped around her. The only other person who's immune to this is basically Beatrice. Yeah, she's actually immune to it. Also, for some reason, the sub, basically how they do this one. Now, normally, Ram calls Subaru Basu. Here, he calls him Balls. I have no idea why the sub decided to do that for, but it did for some strange reason. So, Subaru, while basically getting some firewood, figured though, hey, why don't we have a snow festival? Have it here at the mansion. And it's run by him, Roswell, and of course the village chief. Which Roswell probably agreed to off screen. And then they have it the very next day. And everybody starts participating in the various, let's say, ice sculptures. And this one I thought was so hilarious. Now, the boys from the village, the little boys, they actually made an ice sculpture of Subaru, which was an okay looking one. Petra was the first one to show her off. Hers was a rabbit, was basically a bunny. Which first Subaru basically had like little eyes here, she loved it. And then she made it into a freaking tank, which she hated it. But I'll get to, and of course, I'll get to basically the winner is. Now, in the case of, now, Rem and Ram, they participated too, and of course, Roswell saw what they made, and apparently it was sort of a combination of Roswell and Subaru. Like, Subaru was basically surprised. He gave it a 5. Roswell surprisingly hated the damn thing. He's like, what the heck is this? Is this supposed to be me? Okay. I thought that was quite hilarious. How about the two twin maids making a statue of two men they both love? Like, Ram loves Subaru, and Ram is implied to be in love with Roswell. Which I thought was hilarious. Oh yeah, and by the way, Roswell's points was, believe it or not, 4. Yeah. When they show off, well, Amelia's gave her a 9. Yeah, she got a 9. And she made a weird depiction of Puck. Beatrice got a 7, which is not too bad. And who actually won? Petra, of course. Yes. And her prize? Subaru's bag of potato chips from the pilot episode, which surprisingly he still had. Which, it kind of makes sense the fact that he would just give it to her. Because, well, it was a prize. Potato chips. And she tries them and she loves them. Now, he bought those back in the pilot episode. But here's something quite strange. It seems like after the pilot episode, it's like they never really brought up his potato chips or even his bag of ramen noodles. I mean, aside from his tracksuit, aside from the clothes on his back, the only things he brought with him was basically his cell phone, his wallet, which had very little money in, basically a bag of potato chips, and a thing of instant ramen, which surprisingly he's never eaten at all. Yeah, but I highly doubt he can make it due to the fact there's no microwaves in this world. Yep. And of course, talking about New York and when the whole presentation thing. Yeah, it was a fun little thing they did here. And then we have the banquet. Now, this scene reminded me so much of what happened in a couple. Now, this is technically the third series I've seen them do this, where various characters, except for the main character and a couple others, get drunk. Yes. The first series I saw this happening was Fairy Tail. Yes. After that, I didn't see this again until, I kid you not, Pandora Hearts had an episode like this, which that was hilarious, where Alice got drunk and decided to undress herself right in front of Oz and almost got completely naked. I think he basically just stripped down into her underwear. Almost looks like she's about to go naked, but she just stops, okay? Because it was heavily implied Oz had a thing for Alice the whole series. Or at least, yeah. Though he could have had a thing for Sharon, but it was never really dealt upon. This one is just basically just having the two women. Now, you have Rem, the woman who's in love with Subaru, and Amelia, the woman who Subaru is in love with. It's implied, it's later revealed that Amelia does have feelings for him. Of course, that was available later. Of course, they get drunk, and she just basically collapses in his lap, and then Rem basically gets in his lap too. Like, why not? Of course, she grabs her on his waist. Lucky enough that while she's drunk, she doesn't make out with him or try to basically grab his groin. Sometimes you could see that happen, but nope, that didn't happen. And of course, what does he do after Rem grabs his waist? Pets her head. Surprisingly, he doesn't do it to Amelia too for some reason. And then he's like, I'm going to buy a Beatrice. You two can play with each other. I thought this was so funny. And Amelia's like, almost shoving Rem's face in her chest because they're both drunk. I thought this was so funny. Yeah. And of course, while Subaru's talking to the future. He can't stop looking at Amelia and Rem. He's like, man, I wish I had my camera. And of course, he talked to the future about stars and got to drink orange juice. I thought it was so funny. And talking about stars, and of course, Amelia comes out. She's still partially, she got sort of sobered up, and of course, Rem is like asleep on Ram's shoulder. And eventually, she wakes up to the other stars, and then basically, you know, we get the silhouette, so Amelia and Super can have the date. Buck's like, okay, I'm sent to a capital. And we see a sort of a tease of characters who appear in the very next arc. Basically, the various royal candidates, Patrice, the Archbishop of Sloth. They only know it's him because of his mouth. And he's surprised to see Snow. Like, everybody's surprised to see Snow. Yep, and then the OVA ends with Subaru and Amelia going on their date. Of course, Amelia wearing a very lovely outfit. Yeah, this was a fun OVA. And no, I've not actually read the stuff this thing is based upon. Now, you probably asking yourselves, why haven't I even though I read the light novels that the main series is based on? Well, I just haven't yet. That's the gist of it. I might read it in the near future. But in the case of the first one, the first story I was adapted here, oh yeah, I also forgot to mention the mayonnaise one. Yeah, that was done via flashback. Where apparently Subaru has got obsession with mayonnaise, and so Ram decided to fill up the hot tub with freaking mayonnaise. And apparently he got angry with her over I think it was like too much mayonnaise. I thought that was really weird, but kind of hilarious at the same time. But yeah, like everything was frozen. Even I thought it was funny. The hot spring got frozen too. Yep. And of course, Super made a great suggestion. Like next time, basically he has this particular like thing, do another snow festival. And of course, Puck says he's not against it, but he loves the idea of doing it because he loved the basically doing this. He got a chance. He loved doing it again. Yeah. And in the case what happened, and there's also a brief scene between Beatrice and Roswell in the main anime. These two, aside from like one scene, these two very rarely share a scene together. It's a brief conversation. Implied you could see some stuff happening, probably in a later arc per se, but could kind of explain why Roswell doesn't do very much in the very next arc of the series, or even Beatrice. Beatrice appears like one episode of the third arc of the anime. Yeah. But all in all, great OVA. So that's it for this particular review, and that's it for videos tonight because I don't have more time to do videos because I gotta work early tomorrow. Yep, so probably expect about a couple videos tomorrow. I mean, Dragon Ball Z, obviously. And that's probably gonna be it tomorrow. Probably just that, okay? See you next video. Bye.